Vice President Kamala Harris still hunkering down in a Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania hotel. She is preparing for tomorrow night's debate on ABC News. The New York Times writing up a detailed look into debate prep in the Harris camp, revealing, quote, there is a stage and replica TV lighting and an advisor in full Lee Strasberg method acting mode, not just playing Donald Trump, but inhabiting him, wearing a boxy suit and a long tie. Bringing out Mr. Trump's most self-destructive instincts is a priority for Ms. Harris, as is coming across cool-headed and presidential. A campaign strategist, though, reportedly telling BBC correspondent Katty Kay that the Harris team is nervous and there are frantic text messages and phone calls being exchanged over Harris's lack of fielding tough questions so far in her campaign. Meanwhile, Trump's preparation is, quote, more improv, as aides informally pepper him with questions and keep him fresh on his record. Advisors telling the New York Times they want him to be happy Trump rather than aggressive and focus on policy-based issues over personal attacks. Liz Peek, a lot to go through there, but debate prep is in its final stages.
Yeah, so a couple of thoughts on this. First of all this chatter about how Harris wants to get under Trump's skin, how she wants to provoke him, how she was upset about the muted mics, all that stuff. Hey, people want to hear about Kamala Harris's view on the economy and how she's going to fix the immigration situation and stuff. All this other stuff is inconsequential, and I think it's an embarrassment to the Harris campaign that that has been the focus. Secondly, Democrats are wildly excited to lower expectations all over the news media this past 48 hours. It's about how, oh, Trump is really an excellent debater. Forgive me, he's not. He's okay, and I think he'll do okay on Tuesday night. He's not the world's best debater. So why are they doing this? It's because they know they've cooked themselves. Yeah, she isn't ready to answer tough questions because guess what? She hasn't had to do it, and that has been her choice and her handler's choice. So honestly, I think they've really set themselves up to not do terribly well, and that's what they're setting us up to expect.
And Chris, one thing that the former president will have to kind of thread the needle on is, you know, he is to not come across as, again, a personal attack against Harris, because he could be perceived as being too aggressive. He doesn't want to be too aggressive. Now, the muted mics, it has been said repeatedly, helps him, and that Harris wanted the mics open because they thought that that would make Trump look worse, but they lost that fight with ABC. Those mics are going to be muted. And again, they get a notepad, a pen, no notes, can't consult with your advisors. So this really is going to be a true one-on-one. And let's just remind everybody, she has not debated since 2020 at all. He's debated, well, he buried the primary challengers, so he didn't even have to debate him. He just
and Joe Biden.
Yeah. He's probably debating someone right now in a coffee shop, right? He's so aggressive with the way he debates. But I do think the muted mic will help him, right? Because he'll be able to hopefully, it seemed to help him in the Biden debate where he was able to at least take a minute, take a breath, use that notepad. Because I think if it's about the issues, he's going to win on the issues. He could so easily, as you said so accurately, hopefully he could thread the needle, because he could look like a smidge bombastic if he doesn't, and he could look like a bully. And I think he's going to have to be cautious of that. On the issues, he wins. And I think he's so comfortable in that environment. If he stays in that zone of not taking the bait, I think, and they stay on the issues, it'll be hopefully a healthy exchange of ideas.
Well, and former President Trump was on a town hall with Sean Hannity last week on the news channel, and he said, I'm going to let her talk. He did say that.
Yeah,
so I think that he gave us a clear window in that town hall about who he's going to be.
And her camp is going, no, don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Please don't let her talk. Yeah, because the word salads are, going to fill the bowls. We'll see. I mean, I do think that his appearances lately at the Economics Club, which was excellent, at the Hannity town halls, I think he did a great job. I mean, he was really on point. He had some facts to throw at. He has the facts on his side. If he preps with just one or two data points on real incomes and things that are kind of in the weeds, but he has a case to make. Americans think they were better off under Trump. Let him go out there and prove that with just a few data points, and I think he wins this thing.
Policy, not persona, I think is what we keep hearing. And, one policy issue we can be sure that the 45th president is going to pressure the vice president on is the border crisis. Remember, that exploded under her term as border czar. We're learning new news, tragic news. This illegal Peruvian migrant was arrested in Virginia. He abducted a high school girl while she was walking to school. They say that the suspect falsely impersonated a cop, and then he grabbed the girl and placed her in his vehicle. In Colorado, same thing. You've got, terrified residents because of this Venezuelan gang, Trendiaragua, that now they've taken over at least 2 apartment buildings, apparently. One landlord forced to sell the property. And, as we're now going through the Harris policy page, this is what this says. And again, we've got our folks here at our teams going through. It's a very large policy publish on KamalaHarris.com. But as president, she will bring back the bipartisan border security bill, Liz. Here's what they write, and sign it into law. At the same time, she knows our immigration system is broken and needs comprehensive reform that includes strong border security and an earned pathway to citizenship.
Yeah, so she just has no credibility here at all. She was in charge of this. Americans universally think that she was in charge of this, and they did nothing until the polling showed that this was at one point the #1 issue for voters. So, by the way, this bill that they keep yapping on about, or how Trump sabotaged it, most Republicans wanted it sabotaged because it's a terrible bill that allowed continued high levels of illegal immigration and basically mostly was about making all these people in the country illegally citizens. So I don't think she has much to offer on that.
Yeah, and we'll get into this later on. But again, in the healthcare piece of this, and this is what, Bernie Sanders was talking about yesterday, the Medicare for All thing, which, that basically that she says that affordable health care is a right, not a privilege. She will expand and strengthen the Affordable Care Act. Make permanent the Biden-Harris tax credit enhancements that lower health care premiums. So there's a big section on health care that we're going through right now as well. So, and that impacts investors, Wall Street, that impacts insurance companies and our hospital systems across the country. Big piece of her stance here.
It's a heavy lift. I mean, the Obama administration couldn't handle it. Here we are 16 years later.
Yeah.